This one will not be easy, but I feel very strongly that it's important to speak out about this subject of the death penalty. I'm sure everyone is aware of this Parkland massacre that this person did, and that the verdict was a life sentence without parole instead of the death penalty. They have the death penalty in Florida. I think the death penalty in general is wrong, not because punishment is not important. There must be consequences for hideous deeds, but because the death penalty has been used historically so many times to put people that are innocent in jail just because some stupid redneck cops needed a conviction, and they railroaded some poor black uneducated guy with no money for a lawyer into signing a confession and in jail. But hundreds of wrongly convicted or coerced confessions were found, a lot with that guy who did the DNA stuff, which was brilliant. But in certain cases, like this one in Parkland, where this animal killed 17 children and a couple of adults, right? And planned it, premeditated it, talked about it, confessed, and took great pleasure in doing it and showed no remorse. The fact that he is allowed to be in prison, even in solitary, which is horrible, I'm sure. I did a little research. It's not a picnic, it's torture. Yes, I understand, but it's still life. And I don't have any children of my own, but if I did, and one of them was killed by this person, it would be a very different story. Would the death penalty bring their children back? No. But here's a story I'll tell you, very short, that will give you an idea. In the concentration camp in Auschwitz, there was a guy who came in, was dragged in with his family, two beautiful children, a young wife. And, you know, what they did in Auschwitz was right off the train. The children and most of the women and the weak old men went right to the gas chambers, you know, to the left, to the right. So he was strong, the young guy standing there, and he saw his wife and children walk into the gas chamber. They were told it was a shower. They never came out. So he was very strong and determined, and he lived through the concentration camp. And he remembered the guard who was laughing, pushing his wife and children into the gas chamber, saying it was a shower. He remembered the face. And then after the war, he survived the concentration camp. He ran into the guard in a restaurant in Germany, hiding in plain sight. What did he do? He killed the guard in the restaurant, strangled him to death with his bare hands, and then sat down and waited for the police. He went to trial, didn't resist anything. Of course, everyone saw him. Long story short, there was a big trial, and he spoke on his own behalf. And the prosecutor was saying, well, what good did it do to kill the guard? Said, it's not going to bring back your family. So he stood up and said, no, it brought me back. In other words, and what happened was it was such a powerful statement, and the jury let him go. It's a true story. So how does this impact on what I'm saying? Yes, solitary confinement or prison is terrible, and he'll be in there for 50 years if he lives that long. Hopefully not. And every day, the parents of those 17 people will be thinking, well, what is he doing in jail? Is he sleeping? Is he eating? Is someone trying to kill him? Can someone do it? I mean, you're going to be fixated like I would or you would. Transformative event in your life. You're never the same. This verdict is setting a precedent, a terrible precedent for the next mass killer to kill 17 more kids or 300 or 2, and then not have to face the death penalty and saying, just, okay, I can go to jail, 3 meals a day, clean sheets. Okay, I'm alone, but I can live. It's a total non-deterrent for them to get away with it. And if you say, well, solitary confinement for life is not getting away with it, I'm saying, yes, it is. It's not life. It's not life. And that's a very important distinction. So in terms of the correctness, 3 people on the jury voted for life imprisonment. Okay, that's the law. It's a shitty law, stupid to make it, to have be unanimous. No, I don't agree. Okay, and they certainly don't agree. And when you think of these parents every day missing their child, the animal that killed him is in jail alive. He can read a book. I noticed they can have a black and white television. He could get out maybe an hour a day. He could write. He could read. If he's even motivated, he could even reform himself. Who knows? I don't care. It's life. All the children are dead and will never come out again and will never be spoken to. It's wrong. Now, here's another thing. Life without parole? Yeah. What about in 20 years or 25 years when most of the parents will be dead or too old? This kid will only be 50. And what if the law changes? Remember, I mean, in my knowledge, there was death penalty in almost every state for a while. Then it was what? Legislated out. Well, what happens if in 20 years we have people that are making laws that are have different consciousness, very liberal, a very bleeding heart, and they say, oh, solitary confinement's too much, even if he killed 300 people. No, it's not fair. This ideation of the victim. Who's the victim? Is the murderer the victim? Are we giving him mercy? So what if the laws change and suddenly, well, it was a terrible crime, it's true, but it's inhuman. It's inhuman to have life without parole. So the law gets changed, and of course he's a model prisoner, and he gets out, and he's 50, and he's out of jail, free, and walking around. Maybe killing somebody else, maybe having kids. Parents are dead. People that were 17 are way dead. Laws change, don't they? That's scary to think about that. The other thing is this phrase, my hopes and prayers are with the parent. This is one of the most hypocritical phrases I've ever heard. It's what people say when you don't know what to say, when there's nothing to say. How do you look at a parent who just lost a 14-year-old girl, murdered a beautiful young girl? What do you say to them? My thoughts and prayers are with you. Empty. It usually means my thoughts and my prayers are with me. It's an ego thing, my opinion. The other question is I'm not going to get into in depth. I just ask this with humility and respect. What kind of a merciful God allows that to happen? What kind of a God would allow a mass murderer to perpetrate that? Forget about the Holocaust or earthquakes or floods where thousands of innocent children, babies, lost, dead. Is that God's plan? Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Now, what can happen with these parents? Can they heal? Is there closure? No, he's still alive. There's no closure. Now, I don't have children, but I have close friends, love people that love me and that I love that I know for 50, 60 years, that if something happened to them like that, I would be very affected. Okay, it's not blood, but it's close. So I'm trying to project myself into feeling what those parents are feeling. It's a difficult question. It's an ugly question, but even as I'm saying it, I feel better. In a sense, I feel better. I wish I could do something for the parents. Nothing can do something, but you can believe it that if he got the death penalty, which by the way takes between 15 and 18 years anyway, from what I understand, with appeals. But if he got the death penalty, I'm sure that those parents would sleep much easier and have much better lives. Thanks for listening. Your comments are welcome.